Welcome to another video on smart architectural programming. And in today's video, we're going to be going over basically how you can adapt to the changing world of coding in 2025. We need to understand that the field of coding is constantly evolving, and what you can do to stay ahead of the curve in 2025 is essential for your survival as a programmer in the years ahead. So, over the past decade, technology has reshaped entire industries and changed how we work, communicate, and even think. And within the tech landscape, coding sits at the very heart of innovation. As we know, in 2025, we're seeing shifts in coding world that will redefine the skills, tools, and knowledge required for you to succeed. So, the first aspect that we need to cover in this video is to see exactly what are the different trends in the coding world that are shaping 2025. So these are not just passing fads, but transformative changes that will continue to grow and impact developers and businesses alike. So the first important change that we've seen over the years is AI-powered code generation, right? With the development of large language models like ChatGPT, Gemini, and they have created a situation where these models are used to integrate coding assistants that generate code for you, and these LLMs could generate code for you themselves as well. And basically, these AI agents, AI code reviewers, or assistants, whatever you might want to call them, basically are tools that just don't autocomplete lines of code, but they can generate complex functions that even help with debugging. By 2025, powered code generation tools will likely become even more advanced, assisting coders across all experience levels. Learning to work with these tools will be crucial, especially in managing the output, fine-tuning code, and understanding how to implement AI suggestions effectively. What you need to understand effectively here is that just like the different easier languages that we developed right over the years, now coding is becoming even more intuitive, right? It's more so the logical aspect of the coding that would become important rather than your writing code that is writing that technical code that you know. And that is why these AI assistants were becoming more important, because this productivity would become a minimum requirement for most coding companies that require coders. So you can use AI agents like GPT Pilot or Open Hands, which is or Aider. At the same time, you can look into reviewers like Corbett, AI Code Review, Action, and Code Rabbit. Similarly, you can also look into AI code assistants like Supermaven, Gemini, GitHub Copilot, Gorilla, Cursor, and GitLab Duo, as you can see on the screen below. So based on this understanding, you need to understand the world is changing, and it's changing very, very quickly. So you need to be changing and adapting and leveraging and integrating these coding assistants within your coding workflow for you to survive in the coming years, as more productivity would be demanded, and that productivity which could be achieved using these code assistants. Similarly, another important trend in the coming days is basically low code and no code platforms. What are low code and no code platforms? You need to understand businesses are increasingly turning to low code and no code platforms to rapidly develop applications. These platforms allow people without deep technical background to build functional applications, which can be both an opportunity and a threat to traditional coding roles. For coders, this means a shift towards building more complex backend systems, APIs, and integrations that low code tools rely on. So, generally speaking, what are these low code platforms basically? So, you usually drag and drop UIs where you can create websites like UI Bakery, as you can see on the screen above, as well as you can have case management features, rapid low code development, building secure internal apps. They are basically components that are already developed, and you just mix and match those components to create a software that's relevant to you basically. So these are different platforms that people use to do so, and you need to basically be understanding and have the ability to understand and work with these. A lot of coders that I know personally don't understand what low code or no code platforms are. And unfortunately, that is going to be a detriment going forward. So you need to develop an understanding of integrating these within your coding workflows as well. So if there's something that you can develop quickly using no code or low code systems, use that instead of developing that individually. That is how you become more efficient and more effective as an individual who wants to basically, become a more effective programmer and more employable programmer in the coming years. Similarly, the next aspect we need to look into is there's an increased demand for full stack and DevOps skills, basically. So, project becomes more complex and deadlines get tighter. Companies will look for full stack developers who can handle both front end and back end tasks. DevOps and automation skills will also be highly valued as they streamline development and deployment, making these processes faster and less error prone. Generally, the gist of all of that conversation is there's a demand for increased output in web development and related fields. So you need to understand that people need to get this stuff done quickly, right? And if you put a based on that, be people who have good effective DevOps skills and front full stack skills would become more employable in the coming year. Similarly, those who are not in the field could shift to this field or learn skills of this field to become more effective or demand higher salaries in the marketplace in the coming year. Also, we need to understand something related to cybersecurity, basically, right? So we need to understand that cybersecurity is the most important focus in the coming years in the programming space. There's a rise in cyber threats, so coders need to be focused and prioritize security from the very beginning of a project. Security vulnerabilities can lead to data breaches, hacking, and damage to both companies' reputation and finances. Coders who are highly skilled in secure coding practices, data protection, and vulnerability management will be highly sought after. So, what am I trying to emphasize here? The point I'm trying to emphasize in this particular conversation here is that cybersecurity is still a nascent field. Not a lot of people are there in that field, and the demand for that field is shooting up. There's ransomware attacks, malware attacks. All of these are costing businesses billions at the minimum. So people who get good at that would have a lot of space in the marketplace in the coming years. Similarly, you need to understand that this is a very very important place. You can, and it's also somewhere easy entry point if you can focus on a relevant security certification, get that and get into it. They're high paying jobs, like you need the CompTIA Security Plus, which can easily get you jobs up to 100,000 US dollars, basically, starting out. Then there's CISSP and so on and so forth. Different qualifications to get you entered into the cybersecurity field. Similarly, at the end, another important trend that's emerging is quantum computing. Now, quantum computing is relatively technical. A lot of coders don't understand what quantum computing is, basically, to a degree. And I wouldn't be honest in the say that I am particularly familiar with it, but just a general understanding and look into whether cybersecurity is a field that you think that you're interested in, because there's going to be a lot of potential in this particular field, because it sounds like science fiction, but it's gradually entering the mainstream discussions. We have Google and these big corporations building quantum computing labs, basically, and making great strides into the quantum computing technology. So while it's still in infancy, developers in 2025 and beyond should understand its potential impacts, especially in fields like cryptography, complex data modeling, and AI. It might not be relevant for all programmers yet, but an awareness of quantum principles will be a competitive advantage. So now that we understand the emerging trends, next things we need to focus on to prepare any programmer for 2025 and beyond is that the skills and tools that you need to focus on to stay ahead. And it's now that the major trends have been covered, so let's focus on the skills and tools that will help you stand out in the changing landscape. So again, let's move on to AI, right? AI is becoming a very, very important aspect. So, AI and machine learning fundamentals is no longer an optional skill, but a very powerful tool that coders can use to build smarter applications, understand basic machine learning concepts, and training algorithms. And using AI libraries like TensorFlow or PyTorch would help you develop more sophisticated solutions to your existing problems. So, keeping all of these concepts in our mind, we need to understand that familiarity with AI and machine learning fundamentals is going to be an essential aspect. Even if you're not a specialized MLOps or AI engineer, you can learn these skills to implement them into your day-to-day activity to become stand out and become a more effective programmer. Similarly, let's move on to another aspect is again low code or no code platforms. Let me open that area there. We just open. So, low code and no code platforms are going to become again a very, very essential aspect moving forward. So you need to, again, as I mentioned above in the trends, you need to familiarize yourself with the leading low code no code platforms like OutSystems, Mendix, even tools like Bubble and Airtable. These platforms enable fast prototyping and development, and in understanding how to integrate them with code based systems will give you a edge that other people might not be able to compete with. Similarly, you also need to focus on what we call cloud computing. Cloud computing is the future. It is already something that's very, very prevalent across modern programming systems. Companies continue to migrate to the cloud. Skills in cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud are critical. Understanding cloud infra architecture, microservice, and containerization tools like Docker and Kubernetes will make you more versatile in your abilities and skills to stand out in the marketplace as a programmer. Similarly, you need a focus on understanding data analytics and SQL is also very, very important, because to a degree, data analytics is the future of what most business need to understand. Big data is the future, where businesses are getting so much data, but they can't make sense out of that data, and data analytics does that. So it gives you the ability to handle and analyze data, and SQL remains a backbone of data retrieval. So make sure you're comfortable with it. Learning basic data analysis and visualization skills can help you better understand data driven applications and make more informed coding decisions. Finally, we also need to look into blockchain and cryptography. So that is the future, regardless of what people tell you. Blockchain and cryptography is, although primarily associated with cryptocurrency, blockchain has applications across many industries. For example, JP Morgan, to a degree, has a huge investments in blockchain technology. They're investing more than ever than any company to develop blockchain applications in the financial sector, and this is going to be a very, very important game-changing aspect, because one of the biggest private banks in the world is focusing on a field that they believe has huge potential. So, if you're good at blockchain technology on top of what you already know, you'll be a very, very employable programmer, especially if you are looking into expanding into the financial space. Coders with knowledge in blockchain development and cryptographic skills can explore opportunities in sectors like finance, healthcare, and supply chain management. So, at the end of this video, what we need to focus on is that we need to focus on embracing new mindsets. While technical skills are important, but as the industry evolves, a growth-oriented mindset is equally vital. Here, basically, first you need to remember like there are three mindsets you need to remember in this field. You need to learn to work with AI, not against it. AI tools are assist coders, and they are not here to replace you, but they're here to make sure that they can become an extension of your abilities, making it easier to complete repetitive tasks and speeding up your workflow. Embracing AI as a tool lets you focus on complex and creative aspects of coding and practice how to effectively manage and customize AI assisted code outputs. Similarly, the second thing you need to remember is you need to have continuous learning and adaptability. So, what is continuous learning and adaptability? So, you go onto websites like Coursera, edX, so on and so forth, or free learning platforms, and focus on things, basically different courses to constantly learn, because the coding world is fast paced, and what you learn today may be obsolete in a few years. Make a habit of learning continuously, enroll in online courses, attend workshops, join coding communities, stay curious and adaptable. Staying curious and adaptable will help you keep at the forefront of new developments. And finally, the third important mindset you need to keep to survive in the coming years in the coding field is problem solving over coding. Coding is no longer longer just about writing lines. And as I mentioned earlier, that over the years, the coding programming language evolved. That more so than the programming aspect or the coding aspect, the more important aspect was the logical solutions that you construct for different problems. If you look at the first programming language, it was just basically simple codes that were associated with the program processing chip of a computer, and you just joined them together using instruction tables to actually ask the computer to do what you want the computer to do. But at the same time, we need to remember that as code evolved, that specific aspect of just understanding how to put instructions together for the computer were relieved. And then, in the most recent languages like Python, we can do this stuff without a lot of thinking through. More important thing is how you solve a problem given to you, because you're given a problem and then you need to solve that problem, then you need to find a way to solve that problem. That is the challenge as a programmer, right? And that is what you're going to pay for, because employers are looking for people who can identify issues, brainstorm solutions, and think critically. If you shift your focus towards problem solving, and consider coding as one of the tools in your toolkit, you'll be better positioned to succeed in your field, basically. Similarly, now, what are the job market trends in 2025, right? How do you navigate the job market and get successful there? You need to specialize but stay versatile. While it's essential to develop expertise in particular area, you should still aim for versatility. For example, if you specialize in front-end development, make sure you understand enough about back-end to collaborate effectively with other developers. At the same time, you need to build a strong online portfolio. Employers want to see what you can do, not just what you know. A GitHub portfolio, a personal website, or contributions to open source projects can demonstrate your abilities and practical experience. Showcase projects that are relevant to your field you want to work in. Highlight specific challenges that you have solved. Similarly, you need to leverage remote work opportunities. With remote work becoming the norm, there are more opportunities to work for global companies. Brush up on your collaboration skills and get comfortable working across time zones and cultures. Remote jobs can increase competition, so you'll stand out with strong technical skills and excellent communication abilities. All in all, we need to remember that in 2025, coding will continue to be a core skill that powers innovation across industries. But the way we approach coding is changing, with more emphasis on AI collaboration, problem solving, cybersecurity, and adaptability. To get ahead, focus on learning new technologies, honing essential skills, and developing a mindset that embraces continuous learning. Coding will always be about creating and solving. So stay curious, keep building, and embrace the future with confidence. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Thank you.